I'm 65 years old, and I spent too long pretending I was fine. I said it so often that it became automatic. Fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. It stopped meaning anything long before I noticed. I'm not telling this because I want sympathy. At my age, sympathy feels like a polite gesture, not a solution. I'm telling it because there isn't much time left to keep up appearances, and because pretending takes energy I don't have anymore. On these days, the mornings come in quietly. I wake before the sun, not because I'm eager, but because sleep doesn't hold me the way it used to. I sit on the edge of the bed and listen to the house. It creaks in places it never used to. Or maybe I just hear it better now. There's a chair by the window where I spend most of my time. From there, I can see the street and the trees and the slow, ordinary movement of other people's lives. I watch them leave for work, come home, argue softly, laugh sometimes. It reminds me that life keeps going even when yours feels like it's already been told. When you're young, pretending feels temporary. You think it's something you do to get through a rough patch. You tell yourself you'll be honest later, when things settle down. I didn't know later could stretch into decades. I learned to pretend early. In my family, you didn't talk about what hurt you. What hurt you? You worked. You showed up. You didn't burden anyone with feelings they couldn't fix. If something was wrong, you kept it quiet until it passed. That worked well enough when problems were small. In my 20s, I was good at being capable. I took pride in it. People relied on me, and I liked that feeling. Being needed gave me a reason not to look too closely at myself. If someone asked how I was doing, I said fine and meant it, at least on the surface. I didn't think to ask a deeper question. I didn't know how. In my 30s and 40s, life filled in fast. Work, family, responsibilities that felt heavy but honorable. I stayed busy. Busy enough that there wasn't much room for doubt. There were moments, though, when I felt a quiet ache. Not pain exactly, more like something missing. I noticed it late at night or in the car when the radio was off. I told myself it was normal. Everyone feels tired. Everyone gets restless. I pretended that was the truth. I married. We built a life that looked solid from the outside. We paid bills. We showed up to events. We smiled in photographs. When tensions came up, I smoothed them over. I didn't want conflict. I wanted calm. Calm can be another word for silence. My partner would ask me sometimes, "Are you okay?" I always said yes, Mulder. What I didn't say was that I didn't know. I didn't know how to answer honestly. Without opening something, I wasn't sure how to close again. The slow cost of pretending didn't arrive all at once. It arrived in small ways that were easy to dismiss. I stopped sharing my thoughts. I stopped asking for help. I stopped letting myself feel disappointed when things didn't turn out the way I hoped. I told myself I was being mature. Over time, people stopped asking how I was. They assumed I was steady, unshakable. I trained them to believe that at work, I was respected, I handled pressure well, I didn't complain. That earned me trust and responsibility. It also gave me another place to hide. Success can cover a lot of emptiness if you let it. By my 50s, I had everything I thought I was supposed to want. Stability, routine, a sense of having done my duty. I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't connected either. I remember standing at the kitchen sink one evening, staring at nothing and thinking, "Is this it?" The thought scared me, so I pushed it away and dried the dishes. Pretending became reflexive. If I felt lonely, I told myself I was just tired. If I felt unseen, I reminded myself I was lucky. Gratitude can be used as a shield if you're not careful. Relationships thinned quietly, not through arguments or betrayals, but through distance. Conversations stayed practical, safe. We talked about schedules and logistics and avoided anything that might require honesty. Maybe I thought I was protecting everyone by staying composed. I was really protecting the mask. The turning point didn't come with a dramatic collapse. It came with loss. Someone close to me died. Not young, not suddenly, but gone all the same. At the funeral, people shared stories about them, things they had felt deeply, regrets they had named, love they had expressed openly. Meant I realized how little of myself I had ever spoken out loud. Driving home. That day, I felt something crack, not break, just open enough to let light in where it hadn't been before. I wondered how many years I had spent telling the world I was fine when I wasn't. After that, pretending became harder. Not because life improved, but because awareness makes avoidance heavier. I tried to talk more honestly after that, I really did. But habits built over decades don't dissolve easily. People weren't used to hearing me speak that way. I wasn't used to it either. Some relationships had already settled into patterns that didn't allow for depth. When you pretend for long enough, people learn to meet you at that surface. What can't be fixed now isn't just the lost time. It's the lost language, the words I never practiced saying, the feelings I never learned to articulate while there were still people around who might have listened. I'm alone now, not completely isolated, but alone in the way that comes from having lived quietly for too long. Friends have passed. Family has their own lives. Calls are short. Visits are polite. Loneliness in old age isn't dramatic. It's repetitive. It's days that look the same and conversations that never quite reach where you need them to go. Okay. I think often about how many times I said I'm fine when I was actually asking for someone to notice. How many chances I had to say I'm struggling and chose the easier sentence instead, pretending didn't protect me. It just delayed the reckoning. I don't blame my younger self. I was doing what I knew how to do. I was surviving in the way I'd been taught. But survival isn't the same as living, and I didn't learn that distinction until much later. There are things now that can't be reclaimed. Certain conversations, certain closeness, certain versions of myself that never got a chance to exist fully. Okay? Time doesn't circle back to check if you're ready. What remains is acceptance, not the peaceful kind people talk about, the practical kind, the kind that lets you sit with what is without trying to make it prettier than it is. Okay. I try to be honest now, even if the audience is small. I tell the truth when someone asks how I am. Sometimes that makes people uncomfortable. That's okay. Discomfort passes, like Retlingas. If you're listening to this, I don't want to tell you to bare your soul to everyone you meet. That's not realistic. I only want to say this, pretending has a cost, and it's not always obvious until the bill comes due. You don't have to announce your pain to the world, but you don't have to deny it either. Someone knowing the real answer might matter more than you think. Okay? I thought there would be more time to be honest later, more space to open up when things slowed down. Things slowed down, all right? They slowed down so much that there wasn't much left to open. And now, at Bashar E, I live more plainly. I speak more carefully, but also more truthfully. I allow myself to feel what comes up without immediately pushing it away. It doesn't change the past. It just makes the present a little less heavy. And if this meant something to you, you don't need to fix everything today. Just notice how often you say you're fine when you're not. Notice what that word is covering up. Yeah, I spent most of my life pretending I was fine. I understand now what it cost me. And with the little time I have left, I'm finally trying to live without that lie.